Hello. So today we're gonna talk about the Super Mario Galaxy film, which was really bad. I saw a review. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian called it a bland screensaver of a movie that's actually worse than AI. I think that's a bit brash. I I can see where he's coming from. But anyways, I'm going to fix it today. So I bet you all that I can do better than the one screenwriter who had 3 years, $110 million, and all of Nintendo's IP at his fingertips. So we'll see. So a bit of context, of course. First, the Super Mario Brothers movie, the first one that came out in 2023, made $1.3 billion globally, becoming the highest grossing video game movie ever, the highest grossing Illumination film ever, and the second biggest movie of 2023 behind only Barbie, which, by the way, I didn't like very much, unpopular opinion maybe. So the first movie, it got a Guinness World Record, okay? So it was a phenomenon, and I can unashamedly say it was good. It graduated from a product to a movie. So naturally, Illumination and Nintendo came back for a sequel with a bigger budget, a bigger cast, and more source material. Which, full disclaimer here, by the way, I don't really know because I was playing straight man video games like GTA and Red Dead, and not flowery stuff like Mario Galaxy. But I did my research for this video, so don't come for me. So the stakes of the sequel couldn't have been higher, and then they made this. So I'm about to spoil this movie, okay? Which is what I would say if there was a story to spoil. So, fun fact, the screenwriter, Matthew Fogel, who is not a blue name on Wikipedia yet, by the way, which as a screenwriter, I find both relatable and concerning. He has 3 credits to his name: a Minions movie, the first Mario, and this one, which tells you kind of everything you need to know about what kind of writer was hired. Okay, so what does a sequel actually need to do? So the rules of a sequel are simple and perfectly embodied by the best sequel ever made, Shrek 2. Bigger world, new characters, and if you're feeling ambitious, something to actually say. The Galaxy movie technically does all three. So we've got Princess Rosalina, Bowser Jr., Yoshi, the Galaxy world itself, a whole string of planets that look generally gorgeous. Let me mention here that the animation is extraordinary. This is not a cheap looking film, and thematically there's a real attempt at something. Like, we can see that the whole movie is quietly about parenthood. We have Rosalina and the Lumas, Bowser and Bowser Jr., Peach and the mystery of where she comes from. So on paper there's a coherent emotional spine. On paper. The problem is that everything is so shallow. Like, there's something in particular that the Galaxy movie never quite figures out. What is the movie about in general, and especially for Mario and Luigi, who are there. Remember them? The first film, I mean, is a bit messy, but it knows what it's doing with its protagonists. Like, Mario has something to prove to his family, to himself, to the brother who always believed in him more than he believed in himself. Luigi gets kidnapped, yes, but his kidnapping means something because we've just spent, first of all, 20 minutes watching these two be inseparable, be buddy buddies. His absence is really felt. Mario's entire motivation is personal, and he does something also, Luigi, while he's kidnapped. He goes on a whole journey. We get introduced to new characters, this new strange world he finds himself in. In Galaxy, Mario and Luigi are just, there. They're the guys. They show up. They're fun. Chris Pratt does his Chris Pratt thing. As an Italian, I find it offensive, by the way. My culture is not your costume. And they move from set piece to set piece without anything actually at stake from them personally. Like, Mario has big feelings for Peach that the movie is too scared to do anything with, or maybe they didn't want to spend time, I don't know. Luigi has nothing. And I know what you're thinking, like, but they're Mario characters, they don't need arcs. Yeah, but to that I say this is a movie, right? So it's not a Nintendo commercial. They kind of need the arcs. But they don't have them. Which then brings me to the characters, who should have been the emotional heart of this entire film, and instead spends most of it tied to a chair, figuratively. So Rosalina gets kidnapped in minute 4. minute 4, like we barely know who she is before she's gone. And unlike Luigi, who at least got to run around and be scared and meet Bowser and have his whole thing, right in the first one. Rosalina just sits in Bowser Jr.'s fortress being drained of her power. Like, she's functionally just a MacGuffin in a dress. She has nothing. And the tragedy of this is that Rosalina is the most interesting person in the movie, technically, theoretically, right? She is the adoptive mother of an entire species, the Lumas, which, by the way, is never explained how she met them, why she's their mother. She has a long-lost sister she's been watching over from space for years, never contacted. She has grief and guilt and cosmic loneliness built into her entire backstory, right? But the game she's from apparently gave her a storybook, a whole storybook about her life. I researched this. Nintendo handed this screenplay, a fully formed emotional character, and Matthew Fogel, still not a blue name by the way, looked at her and said, you know what would be cool? If she barely was in the movie. Like, the movie she's supposedly the face of. Like, look at her, here. She's here, you know what I mean? She's very big in the poster. And apparently somewhere else as well. Like, if you look it up, she's a bit everywhere. So she was everywhere in the marketing as well, because the queers are obsessed with her. And with the queers, I mean me. Because I always play Baby Rosalina in Mario Kart. See, I do have some experience with these games. So, why doesn't Rosalina just go and spend time with her sister? Why hasn't she reached out in all these years? The movie sort of gestures at an answer and then immediately moves on to the next action sequence before you can ask any questions. We're gonna come back to this later, once we're actually fixing the movie. So, Bowser. So Jack Black's Bowser was really funny. I think he was generally one of the best things about the first movie. He was very unhinged and a bit sympathetic, I feel. And then in Galaxy, they tried to do something interesting with him, like a redemption arc. I was actually excited for this. He's been defeated, he's shrunken, he's humiliated, and he's starting to actually kind of like Mario and Luigi. There's a version of this that's really moving and interesting, but that is not what happened, because the movie gives Bowser this, and then takes it back immediately as soon as Bowser Jr. shows up, and then goes, Dad, come on! And Bowser just goes with him. He abandons everything the film spent the first half an hour building because the plot needed another villain for the finale, and then after the climax, he's fine again. Like, he's arrested, sure, they're in a jail cell together, but emotionally, he's fine. A redemption arc only works if the character has to give up something to complete it. You know what I mean? Like, Bowser gives up nothing. He gets saved by his son, participates in a final boss fight with him, loses, and then goes to jail. Like, where's the redemption there? Like, again, we're gonna come back to him, I promise. And then there's Mario. Sweet, enthusiastic, chronically underdeveloped Mario. Like, the movie knows there's something between him and Peach, right? It keeps nudging you, and everyone knows this. Even me, a fake fan of this franchise, know that, they have something. But Mario, in the movie, just deflects every time, which could be interesting. I love the romantic tension. When it's there, when it's actually there. In Galaxy, it basically just sits there, doing nothing, going nowhere, because the film doesn't actually commit to it. Why? I generally don't know. I don't know. Peach goes off on her own mission to rescue Rosalina, right? To save her. And Mario stays behind to babysit the kingdom. And he's, fine with it. Completely inexplicably fine. His girlfriend / situationship, the woman he clearly has feelings for, is launching herself into space to rescue something she's never mentioned before. And Mario's response is essentially, okay, cool, we'll hold the castle, we'll hold the fort for you. There's no anxiety, there's no conflict, there's no, wait, who even is this woman to you? Rosalina, who is she? Nothing. I was super disappointed with him. Okay, so we've been talking about what's wrong for long enough. So let's go and fix it. So I want to be clear about what I'm doing here. I'm not throwing out the entire movie. The set pieces can stay, they were fun. The cast stays. The galaxy, the planets, the gorgeous animation, Yoshi being there, that fox being there, all of it stays. I'm not rewriting the whole thing from scratch. I'm just trying to give every character an actual reason to be in the story. Wild concept, I know. So let's start from the beginning. So I would say we open on narration. We have the two sisters, Peach and Rosalina, like a storybook, like the one Rosalina had and was reading in the movie. Only this time we actually know the story. We're shown the whole explanation about their powers, the evil forces who tried to kidnap them. We're gonna come back to the evil forces, by the way. This narration turns then into a nightmare. Peach is alone, scared, and she wakes up. So it's Peach's birthday, like in the movie. The kingdom is celebrating, everything is fine, and Peach puts on her crown, walks out to greet people, and nobody knows that she's been having this dream her whole life. Like, she knows Rosalina is out there maybe. Is Rosalina safe? And if she is, why isn't she reaching out? All these questions are in her head, but we don't see them. But they're gonna get answers, just not now. Bear with me. Let's focus on Peach first as a protagonist, right? She's gonna be our protagonist for the movie. She's a queen, she has a whole kingdom looking up to her for stability, and she has spent her entire reign being exactly that, stable, strong, unshakable, like she was in the last movie. She doesn't get to have a mysterious, painful childhood, right? Because she doesn't get to fully know where she came from. She performs okayness, basically, so well that even Mario doesn't know about this. And he knows a lot about her, right? They spent a lot of time together, but he doesn't know this. Until now, because one of the Lumas appears at her birthday party, like the beautiful scene in the original, right? The nightmare is real because Peach is conflicted. She just found out that Rosalina is out there, she's alive, but never contacted her. And now she's in danger. Peach cannot hold this together anymore. She's going to save her sisters and also find answers. We can't really retcon the first movie. Like, she and Mario are close. She trusts him. So we just acknowledge the fact that this was always too heavy to say out loud, really. And she disappears with the same excuse of the movie. Only this time she's much more conflicted and stressed. Her arc, so, isn't about becoming strong because she's already strong. We already established that in the first movie. I want to instead focus on her learning that being vulnerable in front of the people who love you isn't the opposite of strength. It's just a different kind of it. So Peach and Toad are gone, and Mario and Luigi are left to deal with the kingdom. So in my version, Mario isn't really fine with this. He trusts Peach. He, of course, respects her. But she just disappeared in the night to rescue someone she's never mentioned before. And he doesn't know she's her sister because Peach didn't tell him. So from Mario's perspective, right, the woman he loves, we're committing to it, just left without fully explaining why and asked him to hold the kingdom while she goes into space, right? So there's something generally painful in that position that the movie completely ignores. Like, he doesn't really know how to help her. He can't follow her, can't protect her. He can just manage the kingdom with his brother. They're good at it, right? We can have all that fun sequence with them going about their errands. But the anxiety of the mission that Peach is on weighs on Mario. And then Bowser Jr., of course, attacks the castle, so Mario finally has something to do. But the question underneath his entire arc is being there enough, right? He's showing up the same as being let in. Like, Peach performs strength for her kingdom, and Mario performs capability and nonchalance about it, for Peach. He has to be strong for her as well. So they're both kind of doing the same thing, and neither of them really knows it yet. They're two people who are very good at being strong for each other or for the kingdom, but they haven't really learned how to be soft with each other yet in a vulnerable way. So that's, I think, the foundation of the romance that we're going to explore. I also want to add a point about Mario and Luigi as brothers. I thought their relationship was super wasted in the movie, right? Because in my version, they're one of the answers, to the movie's theme of family. So Peach and Rosalina are sisters who were separated and never learned to be vulnerable with each other. And Mario and Luigi are brothers who never had that problem because they tell each other everything. That was very well established in the first movie, in the opening, right? They're the healthy version of the relationship the movie's actually about. Put them next to the sisters, and suddenly you have a mirror, right? Here's what Peach and Rosalina could be. Here's what they're working towards becoming. As for Luigi's character arc, I'm going to give him a pass just this once. Partially because he generally has enough to do being Mario's like support system and the comic relief, right? And partially because, spoilers, Princess Daisy shows up in the post-credit scene, and Luigi is going to have plenty to deal with in the next movie because they have a romance, right? So there's that. Okay, Bowser. In my version, Bowser actually is going to have a redemption arc. We're gonna commit to it. Living in the Mushroom Kingdom, shrunken and humiliated, changed something in him, right? He sees how Mario and Luigi are with each other, and he holds up a mirror again to his own failures as a father. He was never that. He was never a support system. He raised Bowser Jr. on bedtime story about conquest and dominance, and we're gonna rule the universe together, and now his son is out there doing exactly what he taught him, and Bowser has to watch and think, I did this with his now reformed self. So when Bowser Jr. shows up and says, Dad, come on, in my version, Bowser hesitates a bit. He still makes the wrong choice by going with Bowser Jr. anyways, because he's not there yet. And also he loves his son even when his son is wrong, which means the climax is going to be different, right? Bowser will finally step in and stop his son. So I'll explain more about this when we get there. There's Bowser Jr., who is in the actual movie fine, like he's a bratty kid who wants his dad back. Like that's it. That's the whole character. In my version, I want to turn him into more of a fanatic. Like he grew up on his father's vision of the world and he internalized all of it completely. Like he's doing this because he generally believes it's right because his dad said so. And then he gets his dad back and his dad has changed. Bowser isn't he who Bowser Jr. built his entire identity around anymore. Like Bowser Jr. doesn't know what to do with that revelation except pushing harder, doubling down, refusing to see it, because if his father was wrong, then everything Bowser Jr. is built on is wrong too. Which is why Bowser has to be the one to stop him in the climax, right? It's the first honest thing Bowser has ever done for his son. He's finally being a real father instead of the legend and destructive maniac Bowser Jr. needed him to be, kind of. So their father-son dynamic gets developed throughout the movie, also thanks to Rosalina and the Loomis being there. Because in my version, some of them got captured with her, and only one escapes to go and tell Peach and kickstart the whole thing. So Rosalina actually has something to do while she's imprisoned. She's protecting her kids. She's a mother in an impossible situation, trying to keep the Loomis safe while being drained of her power, and that is a completely different dramatic proposition. And it also creates a direct mirror again to Bowser and Bowser Jr. So you've got two parent-child relationships in the same location. We got Bowser and Bowser Jr. on one side and Rosalie and the Loomis on the other side. You put them next to each other and the contrast between them does all the work. So Bowser Jr. watches Rosalina and her Loomis and sees something he's never had, and Bowser sees a different kind of parenting he wishes he had chosen. And yeah, so I want to make a small point about Yoshi and Toad, because they also deserve better than what the movie gave them. So in the actual film, Yoshi shows up and he is immediately beloved by everyone, and Toad is just there. You know, he's slightly annoying, he's slightly jealous, and that's it. So in my version, that jealousy is actually a subplot. Like, Toad has been Peach's most loyal companion since forever. He's dedicated his entire life to her service, to the kingdom, to being the guy who shows up. And then this dinosaur arrives, and everyone immediately loves him, including Mario and Luigi, including Peach, before she leaves. And Toad, who has never once been the most interesting person in the room, feels it, right? It's small, like, I'm not planning on dedicating this much screen time, especially because they are still separated for a lot of the runtime. But it gives Toad something to push against when they do reunite, and it gives Yoshi something to earn, right? Toad's respect. The only person who doesn't immediately love him. So by the end, Yoshi has to actively choose Toad. Maybe he defends him from an attack or something, and Toad is, like, Toad's respect is earned that way, and that's how they become friends, rather than just ending up in the same movie together, basically. So everyone ends up at this space where we got Mario, we got Luigi, Yoshi, Toad, Peach, that fox, for some reason, all in the same place for the first time since the beginning of the movie. And in the actual film, this is just a logistical standpoint, right? A checkpoint, sorry. Everyone's there, great, let's go fight Bowser Jr. In my version, this scene has to do real work, because Mario has been holding it together for the entire second act, and now he's finally face to face with Peach and he has questions, right? There's no fake obstacle like the ship breaking down. Like, there's this moment with them. There's, like, Mario doesn't ask accusatory questions. Just, what is happening? Who is Rosalina to you? Why didn't you tell me? In the movie, they have this small moment in which Peach is frustrated and they kick rocks together or something, which was cute, but it wasn't super deep, let's be real. So I want to replace that with Peach telling him about the nightmare, about the sister she lost, about the weight she's been carrying the whole time, and she's not okay while she's telling him she's a real mess. Maybe she cries or something. And Mario's there for her, which truly means something now. It's very emotional, and maybe they hug or something, resolving, their romantic arc. Maybe they kiss, I don't know. They're recharged and ready for the climax. Rosalina and the Lumas are getting drained. Bowser is conflicted about Bowser Jr.'s evil plan, but doesn't want to stop it yet. He's too scared to lose the relationship with his son he finally found again. Mario and Peach are happy together. Peach is still frustrated, but a bit better, because she knows Mario's there for her. Toad and Yoshi are still frenemies, but it's all gonna work out in the end. And Luigi and the Fox are also there. So the climax, right? The structure is the same as the actual movie. We got Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi fighting the Bowsers. Peach goes to rescue Rosalina. On the Bowser side, Mario and Luigi are holding their own, but they're kind of losing. And then Bowser steps in and stops his son. Like a father finally telling his kid the truth. This isn't who we have to be. It costs him everything. It costs him everything. His son's trust, his dignity, probably his freedom. He knows that, but he does it anyway. That's the redemption arc. It took the whole movie to get here, and it lands because he earned it. On the Peach side, she finds Rosalina and the Lumas, and it's emotional, and it's relief, and it's everything, okay? And then Peach looks at her sister and says, "Why didn't you come back for me?" In the chaos, Rosalina tells her that the evil forces who separated them as children never stopped looking. The moment Rosalina surfaces, the moment she makes contact, she puts Peach at risk, so she stayed away protecting Peach her whole life in the only way she knew how, from a distance, in silence and alone. And Peach, of course, understands. Like, of course, she doesn't forgive it easily, right? That would be cheap. But she understands, and she reaches for her sister's hand, the one from the nightmare, the one she's been reaching for her entire life. They combine their powers, they stop the weapon, they save the universe, same as the actual movie. But now it means something. Like, the final scene is basically the same too. They decide to rebuild the castle altogether. So they're even stronger when the evil forces arrive. We still don't know who these evil forces are, but they're strong and evil. So they're gonna fight them in the third movie. The castle gets rebuilt, everyone rallies together. It's all full and warm. Rosalina and the Lumas stay with them. The kingdom is home now for all of them. The end. So that's my version of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Same planets, same animation, same cast, same set pieces. Yoshi's still there. Fox McCloud is still inexplicably there. I don't know who this guy is, I'm sorry. The evil forces are still unnamed. Because honestly, I think that's fine. Not everything needs to be explained. We need just a little bit of mystery. Some things are just evil, and that's enough. But at least the things that I changed, right? Every character now has a reason to be in the story. That doesn't need to be a mystery. That needs to be in the movie. And every relationship has something to resolve. And the theme of family, parenthood, brotherhood/sisterhood, siblinghood, the things we inherit and the things we choose actually runs through every single plot thread instead of just sitting in the background, looking pretty like the rest of the movie. That's the job. You take your theme and you make sure every character is living inside it. Matthew Fogel, still not a blue name, I checked again before posting this, had all the pieces. They were all there in the script, underdeveloped and underloved, waiting for something to actually use them. Maybe next time. Maybe the third movie, it's apparently happening. Of course it's gonna happen. It's making a bunch of money. I'll be watching it, And if it disappoints me, well, you know where to find me. We can still keep the end scene with Daisy looking a mess. It's fine. I mean, it's a hard day for Daisy fans.